Talking with the experts.
Reynaldo Santana speaks about how they help customers achieve their financial and charitable goals by securing millions of dollars in grants from companies and government organizations.
So one thing is don't be scared, don't be afraid. It's okay. I'm here to help. I know that working with many nonprofits, I know that they're not tech savvy sometimes, and sometimes thinking about grants, it's overwhelming. Just because when you apply for grants, sometimes they're long applications, or there's deadlines, or things like that. This is a whole complete different scenario here, folks. It really takes about a month to two just to get this grant, and the process is not that long. There's no pages and pages and pages of writing documentations. No, and we're here to help you. At Impact 10X, we have a program for for-profit organizations who want to open up a nonprofit. It's like an 8-week video series where you can go as fast as you want or as slow as you want, but we'll give you all the step-by-step on how to do this. It's a done with you program. So you have to submit things to us. We review it. We incorporate on your behalf, which is the most complex kind of thing area.
Welcome to Talking with the Experts. This is where we discuss great ideas to take your business to the next level. How do we know these ideas work? Well, it's because we're talking with business owners who are using these ideas. Business owners who have years of experience and expertise. All things business by business owners for business owners. And now, here is your host, Rose Davidson.
And welcome to Talking with the Experts. I'm your host, Rose Davidson from rosedavidson.com. Talking with the Experts is about all things business by business owners for business owners, and you can find it on all good podcasting streaming platforms and on YouTube. Now, my next guest is talking about grants. He's from the US, however, we're not talking about grants just available in the US, but globally. So Reynaldo Santana, beg your pardon, he spent his time working in real estate, and what really blew up his real estate business was getting access to grant schemes, which in turn he's been able to do for all of his customers, helping them attract $220,000 a year worth of free AdWords, as well as helping uplift their local communities. He would love to share with you his experiences that he's had and how you might be able to get into free AdWords. Welcome, Reynaldo, and thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much, Rose, and thank you so much everyone who's listening to this podcast. Appreciate it. I'm happy to be here.
So you help for-profit and not-for-profit organizations get these free AdWords. How do you go about doing that?
Yes, happy to answer that. So basically, Google, they have this ad grant program that's been around since 2003. And believe it or not, Rose, when I speak to nonprofits or for-profits, they had no idea that this was out there. And basically, Google has this program where they give you $120,000 of ad credit every single year, right? And it's meant for nonprofits. Now, I just said for-profits there, and there's a reason why. It's because I try to help for-profits to go back to that mindset to give before they receive. And I inspire them to lead with education. And by doing that, we create this digital nonprofit that aligns with their for-profit that are kind of synced. I call them dual organizations. And basically, for-profit owners, they tend to pitch their products, their services, and you do the same thing with the nonprofit, but you're going to educate people on your products and services, educate people on how you help them, how you fulfill their pain points or their needs. And by leading with education, what you're doing is doing social good. You're doing impact. You become a thought leader as well. You boost your credibility and your reputation, because you can agree with me that we live now in an era where now consumers do a lot of due diligence before they buy anything online. And they're always searching, how do I do this? What's the difference between this and this and this and this? And those that have enough content are the ones that win. And I can tell you that, when you think about a business, yeah, they give to charity, and that's great, some of them. But how many of them have their own nonprofit, right? Very little of them. So you kind of stick out from the competition. Anyways, by having a digital nonprofit that aligns with your for-profit gives you access to grants and funding. And like I mentioned, Google is the one that we specialize in, and among others, but I love Google the most. And the only reason is because Google's the only one that as long as your nonprofit is compliant, this grant is there forever. I mean, every single month, you have $10,000 of ad credit that can be used towards creating a market development arm to your business, a market research, a training branch, a media center, or just to kind of use it for fundraising or growing your lead gen overall. So the opportunities is unlimited, so that's how I help businesses kind of convert into a nonprofit, open doors to grants, and help nonprofits get exposed to this grant that's been around, for several years now.
Yeah, I agree that for-profit corporations, companies, businesses need to up their social footprint and, be more generous in their donations to non-profit organisations or charities or whatever it is that, giving donations that I know a lot of businesses don't see having a social conscience or a social footprint is important, but it actually is, because it gets their brand known a lot better if they do that.
That's right. That's right. We live in a digital world, they say, and I think it's time for all of us to give more, especially during these tough times now with economic downfalls, with COVID that's been there for a while. Many businesses have closed. Many have laid off workers. Budgets have been slashed. And I mean, the key is education. And that's what I believe in. My hope is to impact 1 billion people. I know I can't do it alone, but if I spread this message and I can influence or inspire a business person to kind of lean towards educating, then we can help a lot more people. Because the thing is, now we're a lot more connected online. So there's a lot of things that we can search for and have access to. And that's going to help us overall.
Absolutely. I'm the president of a social enterprise called Healing Through Love. We went into a hiatus this year. Normally around this time of the year, we hold a free pamper day for domestic violence survivors. Where we get different healing modalities in, and other not-for-profit businesses come in and educate our victim survivors. And we just had to put it on hold. We couldn't get any interest in it, and we were self-funded. And honestly, to run these pamper days was quite expensive, and we just couldn't sustain that any longer. And so we decided this year that we'd have a break from it and come up with other ways that we could maybe get some money so we could hire a venue and and give it the due that it was worth, because helping our victim survivors is really important to myself and my other business partners. So yeah, so it was really sad we had to make that decision, but we didn't know such grants existed, and I would have thought maybe that might help us in next year. So I might talk to you a little bit about that later when we're finished.
For sure, Rose, because there's many other people in your shoes that had to close down, unfortunately. And that really sucks, because there's so many social enterprises there that do so much social good and help a lot of people. And funding has to be that reason, because things sometimes have to close down. And, my hope is that we can build something where money's not the issue, that, all right, money is there coming from Google now, great. Now we can make something happen. Virtually, we can make something happen physically, but let's make something happen. And one thing I do like to share, that this is for anyone who lives around the world, by the way. Google partners up with an organization called TechSoup. And TechSoup, their job is only to validate the nonprofit, but they're all over the world. And what's great about TechSoup is, so you have to be in charity status, or in the US, you have to have a 501c3 status. But basically, if you have a government determination letter that says that you're a nonprofit, that's all they need. And once you kind of upload that to TechSoup and they approve you, they give you a token, a digital token, basically, that allows you to apply for this Google grant. But not only that, they give you access to other Fortune 100, Fortune 500 company grants as well. So that will give you kind of discounts, will give you resources, access to other type of grants as well for funding opportunities. So it's a lot more than just Google in terms of support. Google is just one of them that I love just because it's every single month, every single year, as long as you're compliant with your nonprofit. But yeah, it's awesome.
It sounds absolutely wonderful. And I would encourage those that are listening to share this knowledge with their networks, because if you're a not-for-profit and you're looking for funding, what a great way. Or if you're up for profit, and you want to be more go more into philanthropy, then what a great way to do that.
Exactly.
Philanthropic work is just it's good. It's good for the soul. It's good for the heart. It's good karma.
It is. That's why I give that message: give before you receive, and that's the message, and that's what I want people to get back into the mindset of giving more. Money always, as long as you keep giving. Exactly. You see.
Yeah. So I guess is there any other criteria that someone needs to have to work with you to get this grant, or to apply at least?
So I can say, and particularly for the Google grant, it's meant for anyone where your prospects are Googling you or searching for you. If you're a school or healthcare provider, a hospital, Google has a separate program for those folks. So if you're listening and you're a school, university, or healthcare organization, this ad grant won't be for you, unfortunately, but Google has a separate program for them. But aside from anybody else that, again, has a prospect on Google, this is a great grant for you. I don't think they're going to go away ever. I mean, it's Google you're talking about. But aside from that is maybe having a little tech knowledge on website development. Google has a website policy you have to follow, which we assist in that if you don't know how to really move things around. And also, aside from that, is having good understanding of Google Ads. We give training on that, but if you're someone that more hands-on, then we do give you access to kind of Google's platform so you can get trained on it. But to make this successful, you have to have the grant, which we help you get that, but also have a good understanding of Google Ads, how to use it, because there is a difference between Google Ads for-profit and Google Ads for nonprofit. Some of the rules are a bit different, but everything else is very similar. Aside from that, that's it. You have access to those grants and the grants that I mentioned that's on TechSoup that everyone has access to.
Wow, that's amazing. It's we seem to come together just at the right time, Reynaldo.
Yeah. Everything happens for a reason, I would say.
Absolutely. Yes, the universe has been looking out for both of us, I think.
That's awesome.
So I guess we've talked about the criteria. Is there any other sort of information that you could share that would make people more compelled to to come and work with you to find out more about these grants?
Yeah. So one thing is, don't be scared. Don't be afraid. It's okay. I'm here to help. I know that working with many nonprofits, I know that they're not tech savvy sometimes. And sometimes thinking about grants, it's overwhelming just because when you apply for grants, sometimes they're long applications or there's deadlines or things like that. This is a whole complete different scenario here, folks. It really takes about a month to 2 just to get this grant. And the process is not that long. There's no pages and pages and pages of writing documentations. No. And we're here to help you. At Impact 10X, we have a program for profit organizations who want to open up a nonprofit. It's like an 8-week video series where you can go as fast as you want or as slow as you want, but we'll give you all the step-by-step on how to do this. It's a done with you program. So you have to submit things to us. We review it. We incorporate on your behalf, which is the most complex kind of thing area. But we give you all the steps to make sure your website is up and running. We give you opportunity to how to build landing pages, how to build offers, how to use digital tools to automate your organization, and ways to also have access to best practices and do's and don'ts when it comes to using Google Ads. And then for existing nonprofits, same thing. We kind of help you achieve that grant. We also give you support. Because by the way, one thing that I do have to mention out, Google doesn't give you support. So you can't speak to anyone, you can't email anybody. It's unfortunate because if you mess up on the application to TechSoup and you get denied, then you can't apply again, unfortunately. So we kind of give support in that area. And what else can I say? I don't know, we're here to help. We've been doing it for now 2 years, and we serve now over 40 organizations worldwide. And right now we're expanding in terms of having JV partners in other countries, just so we can expand this social good, this impact. 'Cause I think more and more people have to know about this. I mean, I'm in the US, but I know other countries have their own economic downfalls, and they have issues in terms of funding or opening up a corporation, either nonprofit, for-profit, or don't know where to start or what resources. I mean, I started in real estate, like you read in my bio. I don't know anything about grants, nothing about nonprofits. I just had a for-profit business, and I had no track record because I lost my job due to COVID. And I was fortunate that I met someone in my co-working space who was doing this on a part-time, doing grants for folks. And I told them, hey, I mean, I have no track record in real estate. I do have a big track record in tech, but you think this grant can work for me? And he's like, certainly. So, I kind of paid him, and we got a grant onto my business, and I was teaching folks about real estate and technology, and that brought clients to me, partners and investors, and I was able to educate them on technology when it comes to real estate. And then that kind of blew up my business very quickly. So I started, talking to this gentleman, like, hey, Brendan, this is amazing. I mean, I think more and more people need this help. Not only that, but I love the message where, I had to educate first to start getting into business. And I think that's the best way. I think going forward for any entrepreneur, coach, or startup entrepreneur has to start is with education. Because if you think about it, Rose, I'm not sure if a startup has ever pitched to you before, but when they create their 10 slides, the first 3 slides talk about what is the problem and how they're going to solve it, right? But somehow, I mean, we're all seen it, when the entrepreneur grows and gets funded, they forget about that problem and that need, and it becomes just ABC, always be closing and get those funding seeds and get those sales goals and stuff like that, which I get it. But it all first started because you wanted to help someone. You wanted to help that certain type of audience. And now with the nonprofit, you can keep that alive and educate folks 24/7 to have access to more impact. So that inspired me to open up this business and help a lot more folks out there. And every day I try my best to contact, a few nonprofits to be like, hey, here's the link to Google Ads. Like, what is this? Thank me later. If you need help, just reach out, but thank me later. And they're really glad. So I encourage anyone to do that. Just Google, search the Google Ad Grants and spread that around.
Yeah, I have one question. I don't know about how the rules differ in the US compared to in Australia, but do you have to be a registered not-for-profit, or can you just be a social enterprise?
So you can be a registered nonprofit in your country, or you can also apply to become a social enterprise in Canada. I know it's in Canada. So believe it or not, Canada, according to their laws, they allow non-citizens to open up social enterprises, nonprofits in Canada, because at the end of the day, you don't own the nonprofit. It's owned by the nonprofit itself. And that gives you access to grants. They just won't allow you really to raise money, but the sole purpose of it is just to educate folks, have access to grants and nothing else. So that's pretty cool information for those folks that are listening who are outside the US or outside of Australia. They can have their own nonprofit in Canada if they wish, which is it's a lot faster. It takes about a week to get incorporated. Compared to the US, it takes like 6 to 9 months to get the 501c3 status. So.
Wow. Okay. That's pretty neat.
Yeah. Yes.
So, Reynaldo, where can people find you to get more information and if they want to work with you?
Thank you. Yes, they can find me on my website, www.impactannex.org. They can find me on LinkedIn, just Reynaldo A. Santana. And lastly, they have a personal website called reynaldosantana.org.
Perfect.
Happy to help them out. Yes.
It has been an eye-opener, and I thank you for finding me and coming on Talking with the Experts.
Thank you, Rose. I'm so happy to be here. I appreciate everyone who's listening today to this beautiful podcast, Talking with Experts.
I'll talk to you soon.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
You've been listening to Talking with the Experts, hosted by Rose Davidson. Make sure you have a look at our back catalogue over at talkingwiththeexperts.com. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast so you don't miss out on any episode. We look forward to your company next time. Talking with the Experts.